evening and welcome to RTD's English News Edition. Take a look at our major stories for tonight. The arrival of President Anglais to Addis Ababa for the African Union 29th Summit. So the launch of the training of nursery nurses. And on the regional news, end of Ebola epidemic in Democratic Republic of Congo.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency Anglais, arrived today in Addis Ababa, the Ethiopian capital, where he will take part in the work of the 29th Ordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government of the African Union. A warm welcome was received to the President and the delegation that accompanied him in Addis Ababa. Several topics are on the agenda of this foundation, and particularly take advantage of the demographic dividend by investing in youth, which will take place on 3 and 4 July. The revocation of the priorities of the organization around the future of the youth of the continent will be the first comment of the study of this meeting. In this first phase of activities, the head of state and government of African will be primarily to adopt a series of reform aimed at increasing the level of conviction of young Africans, the fight against insecurity, and implement and growing the academic training of the continent with the professional needs of the African market will be extensively addressed. The access to decent housing, especially for the young African in age to build a home, they need that the income can provide recreation, and the strengthening of policies providing for career plans. Everything will be mentioned in the course of this summit of the Pan-African Organization. The second commitment of this foundation is dedicated to the evaluation of the African Union program implementation, entitled Agenda 2063. The Agenda 2063 is an ambitious program listing all the information that the African countries must operate with a view to their final access to sustainable development. Outside of its participation in Summit of the African Union, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Anglais, will meet in the margin with the main political authorities of the host country, including the Prime Minister of the Ethiopian, Mr. Haile Mariam Desalegn. He will also meet with several of his counterparts, heads of state and government of African, which present at this summit.
Well, and to review it on this upcoming summit of Pan-Africa, the ambassador of Djibouti has told the national press that the second summit of the African Union is devoted to the African Union, considering in 2050 that African youth will represent more than 50% of the population. So the idea is to put to work those African youth who of tomorrow by the economic integration. Thus, he said the two very important things. First one is the Agenda 2063 that is essential for African continent in terms of economic integration, such as Djibouti with Ethiopia.
The Department of Women and the Family, in collaboration with the Higher Institute of Science and Health, will now by the acronym ICC, have conducted this morning the launch of the training for nursery nurse within this institute. The launch of training takes place in the framework of the national policy for the development and the framework of the implementation of community nurseries in order to enable the women in a situation of insecurity to be more available to be able to exercise revenues generating activities. This training will allow the 30 young girl graduate of a baccalaureate degree and from the capital and all regions of the interior to train on how to take care of these small children and receive they know how to integrate in the work After this which will last for a period of 1 year, the girls will carry out to work in nurseries that Department of Women and the Family wishes to implement in the regions and disadvantaged neighborhoods of coming of Palaus and Balpala of next academic year. Nurseries are intended to take care of the children as well to their health. This launch has seen the participation of the Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nabil, and the Minister of the Women and Family, Momina, as well as the Director General of the Empire Institute of Science and the Health, Nadira Abdullah Yahya, and the Technical Advisor of the Minister of Women and Ministries, Nabila Hassan.
The Minister of Higher Education, after the words of wishes on the occasion of the Eid al-Fitr and the Feast of the Independence, has thanked in his speech the organizers of this training, as he has urged them the efforts which have been provided by the two departments in order to achieve this project, which comes in the framework of women empowerment and the development of the country. And on her side, the Minister of the Women has directed to the very beginning of her speech its sincere best wishes, the Minister of Women, Mumina, to Eid al-Fitr and the national feast. Then she has encouraged young girls to contribute in the development of the country and to apply to the future caregivers in order to make proof of attendance to draw profile of this training. She also said it's thanks to the MENFAB and managers of the Higher Institute of Science and Health for the support that they provide to her department.
The Lucid Group General Training in Nama has organized this morning a ceremony for the presentation of its new car brand Mahindra, a detailed presentation and projection for the language and the larger customers who present all the strengthening of the brand and its objective is personally to this company. Mahindra is a mark which is renewed for its all consumption at the most minimal possible, which exists. The brand is present everywhere in Africa, in particular in South Africa, Mozambique and Tanzania, and it is a brand that can compete with the great brands such as Toyota, Nissan or Renault. The ceremony also the participation of the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, the President of the authorities in the port and the free trade, son Abu Bakr Umar Hadi, the Sultan of the Kuwait and Habib Boko, the Prefect of Dikil Muhammad Sheikh Hassan, and the President of the Regional Council of Tajura, Mr. Umar Hussein Umar. Let us recall that the Lot Group General Training is present in Djibouti since 2011. The ceremony was closed by the handing over of car keys to the customers who are loyal to the course of their time with the group in Ma.
A ceremony of commemorating the anniversary of the independence of the country has been organized Thursday, 29 June at the Hotel Sofitel Rabat. The guests of Morocco were many, in particular by the notable presence of two ministers of the government of Morocco, responsible of Moroccan administration, the ambassadors accredited to the Kingdom of Morocco, and the Djiboutian communities living in Rabat. Another feast of the independence has been also organized in the city of Meknes with Djiboutian students resident in the Kingdom of Morocco.
In addition, ceremony of the 14th anniversary was organized in Brazil by the Embassy of Djibouti. Many guests participated in the evening, rich in animation with the singing of patriotic and cultural. Different personalities took the floor to convey the best wishes to the Djiboutian diaspora of pilgrim and to the whole of the Djiboutians. The ambassador of Djibouti in Brazil, Mr. Omar Ziad, has sent his wishes congratulations to the President and the First Lady on the occasion of this 40th anniversary.
Embassy of the Republic of Djibouti in Berlin was putting colors of Djibouti into traditional mode during the ceremony of the 40th anniversary of Djibouti's accession to the national sovereignty, occurred in 1977, organized in a large hotel of Berlin. Dressed in traditional clothes and surrounded by his family and his collaborators, that Mr. Aden Mohamed Leta has hosted more than 200 guests, diplomats, civil and military authorities. The Ambassador Aden Mohamed Leta recalled in his speech the multiple achievements of development initiated by the head of state, Ismail Omar Guelleh, throughout these years. He has in particular emphasized the important role of the country in the concert of nations through the policy of peace, progress and stability under the conduct of the President. The ambassador has not failed to relate the excellence of relations between Djibouti and Germany, both at diplomatic level and in the achievement of multiple projects of cooperation. As for the representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Germany, also illustrates these remarks and confirms the image of the influence of our countries from the German authorities. He stated in particular that in a region of Africa with its multiple violent conflicts and its great human suffering, Djibouti remains in stability.
Coopération avec d'autres pays.
The celebration ceremony of the 40th anniversary of the independence of the Republic of Djibouti has been organized on 27 June 2017 in Moscow, Russian Federation in Constant Club Hotel. The ceremony was a feast which took place in the presence of all the diplomats corps accredited in Russian Federation, as well as in the presence of other officials of the Russian Federation, representative of the various departments of the Russian Federation, and in particular the Minister of the Foreign Affairs, whose official representative gave a speech. Moreover, several personalities from different regions, which the world of the arts, business, education, tourism and the like, have made the trip in order to participate in the celebration of this important anniversary of the Republic of Djibouti. The Egyptian students present in Federation of Russian participate actively in the animation of this celebration ceremony of the 14th anniversary of our independence. Also, various renowned artists of the scene Russian have also taken part in the performance designed to entertain guests.
And now moving on to the news outside the country. Democratic Republic of Congo declares the end of Ebola epidemic. The epidemic had spread to a landlocked area in the northeast of the country. 7 weeks after announcing an Ebola outbreak in the northeastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Congolese authorities announced the end of the epidemic this Saturday in Kinshasa. On 12 May, the authorities claimed that the country was facing an Ebola epidemic. The Minister of Health explained that since 2 June, new confirmed case of Ebola fever had been recorded in Bawele. The minister said that 105 suspect patients who met the case definition were all tested negative. Called for stabilization and resilience of the health system in the Bawele province, which has been severely destabilized. The epidemic in DRC is the 8th epidemic of Ebola since the discovery of this virus on its soil in 1976. The disease was detected in an isolated area of Bawele, about 1,300 kilometers northeast of Kinshasa, and killed 4 people. This Congolese epidemic is the first outbreak in Ebola since the triple epidemic that struck West Africa between the end of 2013 and 2016, causing more than 11,300 deaths in some 29,000 cases, more than 99% in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone. And that's it for tonight's news. Thanks for joining us in RTD. Have a great night.